Testing.
We're gonna like.
What would you like?
Well,
We can walk over there and let them know.
I don't know. I guess if it's not noisy for us to just like pull the windscreens off and swap them and give it a little wipe.
I know that Boulder County Public Health was saying that there's no touching of microphones during the ceremony. It was the rule.
Okay.
But most people are just stepping up to them. As long as they don't touch them, at other graduations they had like 2 microphones and they're stepping in the zone of them.
And so people were sharing the same mic.
Not touching it, but
Yeah, not touching it, but at least from here, then there was no issue.
that's what I at least I saw.
Okay, so then if we don't need to wipe and
I would just leave it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Better not have, because it.
right,
Yeah.
that's fine. If they say it's okay, then it's okay.
Yeah, I would just leave it.
But Randy's saying we don't even need to change them.
The health side of things. I said, most of the other ceremonies they didn't do any sort of switching or whatever. I would just leave it.
Inside, yeah. It looks like it's clearing.
Yeah, exactly. Next half hour, it looks like it might clear, so we'll hope.
Is there more coming? Another round?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Just so we have something to.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you.
I think we've got everyone, right?
I think
We
so.
should have 14. Is that true?
Yep. I think everybody is here, so we should be able to start in just a minute when we get these diplomas situated. And
14. I counted 14.
We are moving the rain things off the podiums to actually
Yeah,
use the
yeah.
podiums, right?
I think we can probably go ahead and do that.
Okay.
I can help with that. You just want to
Yeah.
look
That.
that.
Yeah, that'd be nice if it
Just so
holds.
you know, Dustin, my sounds like everything that's inside that podium.
Okay.
It should be pretty tucked back there, but yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where we put
Oh,
on
you
other
did bring a
machines.
graduation gown.
Huh? Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Woo!
Oh my God, sunny?
Seriously?
It's beautiful. It's the best weather all day.
Right on cue.
Oh,
Right behind you.
thank you.
I was just.
Someone needs a paper towel there. Who needed that?
What might you go to? Sorry?
So how do these seats work? Why is it half and half?
Except for
I don't know.
Jen and Neil, Jen and Warner switched.
I was gonna
think I'm
steal a
missing
seat
a
up here.
diploma, but-
I guess now shade, but
Oh, you take the shade, I think.
Adrian.
yeah. Join us fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna give her. I'll give her a blank diploma cover.
We lost. Don't have Mikey one, but that's fine. Yeah, Mike one's right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? The labels are.
Meaningless.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, that's fine, I guess.
These windscreens are funny.
Yeah.
Little shower caps.
Yeah, there's an empty or an open screen.
Where do you want to sit, Lily? Or you can be right
I'm
here?
just gonna just sort of stand here
Okay.
at the end. just up front of the table. I'm gonna move the diplomas.
I guess I can come right here. Or should we?
I was just gonna move myself back, maybe.
Every second one can move back a bit.
Or maybe listen on the end just so that you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, maybe. Justin, can I?
Yeah, I'm just gonna move them.
Thank you.
Move them all back.
I thought we could stagger them.
So we have more.
One in, one out like that.
Okay. Oh yeah. I forgot. Yeah, we need to do COVID time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if the weather starts, then staggering in.
Nope.
That's true.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's gonna be a normal graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is mine.
This works fine.
That is true.
You know what we forgot to tell the kids is about our handshake.
That's okay.
So
Once we start air hugging, they'll do the same.
Yeah, air hug. Y'all know air hug.
all right, we're ready. Are we ready?
It's as good as it's gonna get.
Just hope the sun holds and
Tell me to move if you need to turn around.
I think that's as good as it can
that's
get.
good.
I
At least they're not standing in puddles.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh my god, I need my sunglasses.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Corey's in the white spot.
I know.
Is she?
Story's out. She's done.
Oh my.
She just look at her. She's collapsed up front.
That's just perfect.
Did you break my speech from the school like I have?
You're gonna get some burnt shoulders again, Leah.
No, but I've got one for you. You can read.
Okay, thanks.
Are you down as speech strong? Do we need to get extemporaneous?
Sorry, come here. Come here.
That's extemporaneous thing.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble now.
What does it mean?
Do you not really know?
No, I don't. I was good at it. What?
It's when you don't have it prepared and you speak off the top of your head.
I thought that. Oh, okay. I thought that was. There's another word for that too. Okay.
Spontaneity.
No, there's another word.
Improv.
Yeah, impromptu.
Impromptu. Extemporaneous was a specific thing in speech and debate where you would like have to prepare for different topics, but you never knew what you were gonna get.
Dom, did I give you yours?
And then when you got your topic, you
I
just
have
kind of
mine,
had to
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, heck, if I want to try to
Part of the same thing.
About what?
try to persuade people.
Nobody wanted to come?
Yeah, I got that.
I shaved and I didn't even need to. I forgot the mask.
Yeah.
Oh,
We don't need to do anything.
Are you taking?
no, don't do that on your.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I think we're ready to get started. Yes, can I get a big cheer if we're ready to get started? All right. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. I know this has been a long, painfully awaiting this moment, and we're excited to be here and a little bit of rain clearing to celebrate the class of 2020. Woo-hoo! My name is Lily Adeli. I have the privilege of being the headmaster at Boulder Prep High School. This is my 7th graduation as headmaster and my 18th year at Boulder Prep. Thank you. I have been notified that the health department is watching on live stream. So we need to make sure we're following protocol, but not just because they're watching, but because we want to make sure that nobody gets sick from this experience. That would feel really terrible. And so just be mindful of your masks and your distancing for the sake of everyone's health here. We want to go off and celebrate without any illness coming out of this experience. Got some extra celebration happening up front. So just to dive in, I've thought a lot about what I would say this year, and the word that kept coming up for me over and over was transformation. Yeah? Okay. Each day, the Boulder Prep staff is privileged to witness our students on their transformational journey from adolescence to adulthood. And I can't even begin to count the number of times that I've heard students say that they hated school before they came to Boulder Prep, or that they never liked reading until they came to Boulder Prep, or that writing was hard until they had Sasha's class, or that math was like a foreign language until John explained it just the right way. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard students say that they never thought of teachers as friends until they met us. And just like Boulder Prep breaks so many stereotypes about education, our students break so many stereotypes about youth, especially the ones that are labeled as at risk. Sure, some of our students come to us at risk of dropping out, or worse, at risk of having their lives cut too short. The students here today show us that despite all risk factors and the obstacles life throws at them, they can overcome. And you'll hear shortly about each one, but I want to highlight a few transformational examples. After one entry interview for a new student, the parent asked me to make sure and tell all the teachers that her daughter had severe anxiety and absolutely not to call on her in class. And so the first day of school started, and I was too busy, and I forgot to tell the teachers. And sure enough, in the very first class that day, that student was called on, and she ended up struggling with anxiety to the point that she had to leave that day. I felt terrible and was worried that we were going to lose her for good. And now fast forward 3 years later, that young lady is here celebrating her graduation, having spoken up and spoken out in many classes, willing to use her voice and be heard. She has been an example at Boulder Prep as a leader, and that transformation is one that we are all so proud of. Another transformation that I wanted to share with you connects very closely to our restorative practices program, where when students have behavioral issues, we work with them to identify the harm and repair whatever harm has been done. And this one student went many rounds with us through the restorative practice process and harm repair because of his struggles with substance abuse while at school. And I had nearly given up, thinking that his head would never get out of that fog. And the transformation finally set in. His senior year, he showed up with near perfect attendance, finally a clear head and a quiet determination to graduate. These are just some small examples of the types of transformations that we see, where students come to us struggling, and they leave us, as you all are, successful and strong. The personal growth we see at Boulder Prep is beyond heartwarming and is what fuels the staff's persistence and patience every day. A student's high school years are considered some of the most formative. This is a time when youth explore and develop their identity. As an alternative school, students normally transfer to us after they've struggled in traditional schools. And over the last 5 years, we've been seeing more ninth graders start at Boulder Prep. And some of our graduates here have been with us the full 4 years and came straight from middle school. Whether they've been with us for 4 years or just one, Their experience at Boulder Prep is the same. We provide a community that's safe, supportive, and nurturing where students can be their authentic selves. It can take time for them to trust that they will not be judged, but rather celebrated for their uniqueness. And I like to say metamorphosis can only happen when conditions are right. And while I can't take all the credit, I'm pretty sure that the Boulder Prep magic has helped our butterflies emerge from their cocoons. And today, I'm going to let you in on the very special secret in Boulder Prep's magic. It starts with a group of staff members who unconditionally love and support the students, even when they are annoying the hell out of us by taking 5 bathroom breaks in an hour or asking us to repeat instructions for the 3rd time because they were looking at Snapchat. Another important part of the magic is having really freaking cool classes that are relevant to the students. Some examples are positive psychology, renewable energy, sleep science, and car talk. These are just a few examples of how we trick the students into liking school. Another key element to the magic that happens at Boulder Prep is our social emotional support program. I haven't heard of another school that pays for private therapists to come in during the school day and provide counseling sessions for the students. Beyond the individual sessions, Boulder Prep also offers a comprehensive social emotional support program where we do weekly connection circles and workshops that help all of us learn to become our best selves. And once all of these magical elements come together, we see our students transform from disengaged, angry, anxious youth to thriving young adults ready to change the world. And right now, as we all go through a worldwide transformation with coronavirus, I trust that our graduates will navigate the uncertainties ahead with a solid foundation and inspiration to keep pursuing their passions no matter what obstacles life presents. And so before we get to hear about each graduate individually, I do want to recognize the Boulder Valley School District for their continued support, especially in making this ceremony possible. I also want to recognize the Boulder Prep Board of Trustees who volunteer their time to provide oversight and support for the school. I am particularly grateful to them for giving me the autonomy and flexibility to innovate and push boundaries of education reform. And so now for what you've all been waiting for, we'll begin introducing you to our graduates. This year we have 22 graduates, and unfortunately not all could be here with us today. I will read the names of those who are watching from home, and we can give them one group applause. Dylan Boyer, Tyler Kahn, Kyle Lipinski, Ash Ruff, Keegan Thies, Sam Welch, Tristan Wildley, and Kaya Willette. Let's give them a round of applause. And now we'll get started with our first graduate of the evening. In my 18 years as an educator, I have seen quite the spectrum of students. This young lady stands out to me as a genius. She is one of the smartest students I've ever had the privilege of teaching. And I know that saying someone is smart can be subjective and a little controversial, so let me tell you a couple of stories. In my ACT prep class, we were reviewing the reading section, and I always have the students take a full practice test in class to just get a baseline score. This student completed the reading section 10 minutes early and promptly jumped on her cell phone to do whatever young people do on their phones. I was a little peeved, and I gestured to her to put her phone away and review her answers. And she waved me off and said she was good. And she was, scoring nearly a perfect score on that reading practice test. She went on to score in the 97th percentile on the official ACT without much effort. School and learning come easily to Quinn. Any class she was in could be passed with ease. And beyond what we had to offer, Quinn took up an extra task of learning Korean and Japanese to support her dream of becoming a K-pop star. Her phone is set to use Korean characters and icons. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I'd get audition videos from Quinn after she'd put in hours of practice to hit each note and perfect every dance move. I often tell students that a strong intellect is worthless if there is no work ethic. Quinn absolutely has the work ethic to match her genius. On top of academics and rehearsing for auditions, Quinn often worked 20 plus hours a week to save money to travel for auditions in Korea, California, and New York. To throw an extra challenge in the mix, Quinn found herself homeless or in unstable housing situations for most of her senior year. Somehow she'd still figure it out though and keep working towards her goal of moving to Korea. Quinn, I remember the day you interviewed at Boulder Prep. It was tense and you seemed so angry. As I got to know you and your story, I learned that your anger was justified and the hardship you endured are more than what anyone should have ever had to bear. Over these last 2 years of Boulder Prep, I saw you hit the bottom of the abyss and climb out stronger and more confident than ever. Quinlan, you are a bright, shining, K-pop loving star, and I'm so proud of you. Remember that your Boulder Prep family will be here for you always to love and support you through any struggles and all of the celebrations to come. Please help me in recognizing Quinlan. Come on up, Quinn. This is where you give your speech. This one.
I did not prepare a speech, but when I first heard her talking, I was not expecting that to be me. I was like, cool, somebody else did really well on the ACT. I actually graduated back in December, and at first, it didn't feel like an accomplishment because I had this huge, big plan before wanting to be a K-pop idol to graduate high school a year early and go and be a veterinarian in California and live in Thousand Oaks and work at Conejo Valley Animal Hospital. I had this huge, meticulous plan, but junior year, senior year, I kind of realized that you don't always have to know exactly what you want to do immediately. And that was when I realized that I didn't want to be a veterinarian. I fell into a really, really, really bad depression. And I was having a ton of struggles with a bully and friends and a ton of family issues. And I got kicked out of my house. And fortunately, though, I found Boulder Prep and I found the Appelts who took me in, and I was able to finish my schooling and graduate. And it doesn't seem like a huge deal to me, especially because it happened a while ago and I was like, ugh, I ended up graduating late anyway. But overall, I guess it is a pretty big accomplishment because as someone told me, not a lot of people expected that out of me. And I want to say thank you to everyone, and I'm sorry I didn't talk to you much at school. I was kind of focused on my own work, but all of you guys were very inspirational and super helpful, and thank you so much, Boulder Prep.
All right, now I will welcome up my colleague, Leah Arvanitis, to introduce our next graduates.
Right, so just some quick instructions. For the three that I call up here, the first I'm going to have come to this microphone directly next to me. The second will come to the second one over. The third one over. All right. The first time I met this next graduate was when I was helping her register for her first term at Boulder Prep. She was reviewing her course options, and as I do with most of our young ladies, I shamelessly tried persuading her to take my female health class. I knew right away I wanted her in this class, but I couldn't have known how much we'd come to need her. See, the student is warmth and welcoming personified. She creates community and inspires solidarity wherever she goes. When I would go to take attendance in female health, I could always tell whether this student was present before I even got to her name on my roster. Her energy changed the environment that much. There was so much unity and support amongst that particular group of girls. We all have the friendship bracelets to prove it, and I owe a lot of that to Amelia Barton. I really shouldn't have been surprised by Amelia's commitment to female empowerment when most of her female role models come from 90s hip hop and R&B. No one can be inspired by third wave feminists without firmly believing in girl power or taking strong pride in their own femininity. Amelia would proudly wear oversized t-shirts adorning these old school musical artists, and I'd be lying if I said that wasn't partially where my affinity for Amelia began. Her public feminism didn't begin and end in female health, however. Its reach extended into her art class as well. Just as she'd proudly wear her t-shirts of feminist icons, she'd also proudly showcase her artwork, which sometimes looked more like ceramic models meant for an anatomy lesson than anything you'd necessarily think to call pottery. Let's just say Georgia O'Keeffe could just have easily been an inspiration for Amelia. But that's what is so wonderful about this young person. She believes in uncensored self-expression and is a true creative. Whenever she gets to art school, I know she will continue to be quite the trailblazer. It wouldn't be fair to talk about role models without quickly mentioning Amelia's favorite, Meg the Stallion. For those of you who don't know, Meg the Stallion is a modern rapper and founder of the 2019 feminist liberation movement, Hot Girl Summer. I say this in jest, but when I actually looked into this musical artist under Amelia's adamant instruction, I found the official description of Hot Girl Summer, and it all made sense. I read, "It's basically just about women and men being unapologetically them. Just having a good-ass time, hyping up your friends, doing you, not giving a damn about what anybody has to say about it." And that's Amelia to a T. She makes no apologies for who she is or what she believes in, and why should she? She is a profound student, a fiercely loving friend, and a strong social activist. Whether it's giving sage advice in Girl Talk or participating in the Black Lives Matter movement, she knows what it means to uplift her community. And that, in the words of Miss Stallion, is real hot girl shit. So when the world reopens, it better look out for our next Boulder Prep graduate, Amelia Barton.
Yeah, Amelia!
Hello. Okay. Oh my God. Out of all the high schools I went to, Boulder Prep will always be my best experience. Thanks to the amazing staff and entertaining classmates, and Story was cool. Thank you.
One of my very first memories of this next graduate was when he performed at Boulder Prep's annual poetry jam. I knew very little of him at the time, but I will never forget his few minutes on stage. It wasn't just the emotional memory he shared about the experience he had in his family's home country of Mexico, but it was the rawness and vulnerability with which he shared it. He wasn't just letting us into the moment, he was letting us into his heart, and the entire community was moved by what they witnessed. Fortunately for me, that wasn't the only time I would get to know this student's heart. In fact, he and I would go on to have many heart-to-hearts. We have spent countless hours in offices, sitting at picnic benches, or hunkered down in school hallways trying to make emotional sense of the world around us. This student has been subject to a fair bit of teasing that he could single-handedly fund my private counseling practice, but in all honesty, it was always a privilege to have this front row seat to how such a compassionate young person navigates the world while wearing their heart so boldly on their sleeve. When I talk of Mac McGillivray's kindness, I'm not telling his peers in the audience anything they don't already know about him. Whether he's giving his friends rides, providing consistent support and guide talk, or offering places for other students to stay when they have nowhere else to go, Mac is the kind of friend who truly understands loyalty. Now, Mac is a bit of an anomaly in the sense that the enormity of his heart is genuinely rivaled by his tremendous intellect. Just as he had an emotion for every moment, Mac had an opinion on every subject. When teachers would see Mac's name on a class roster, we immediately knew participation was more than covered. He could carry a group discussion all by himself, and if he wasn't able to vocally contribute, because we did have to silence Mac a time or two, he'd temporarily turn blue in the face and then submit his assignment with his frantic handwriting spilling into the margins and onto the back of the paper, making it clear he'd express his thoughts one way or another. Mac, I genuinely believe the depth of your heart and the depth of your mind will do nothing but serve you well in this world, and it will serve the world well too. You have so much to give, and I can't wait to see where such enthusiasm and passion takes you. Just remember, your intelligence may be your armor, but your kindness is your true strength. Y yo sé que tu herencia chicana es muy importante para ti. Por eso quiero decirte algo en español. Estoy muy orgullosa del hombre en el que te has convertido. Habrás perdido una consejera en Boulder Prep, pero siempre tendrás una amiga en mí. Please join me, con un grito si pueden, in celebrating our next Boulder Prep graduate, Mac McGillivray Carrillo.
That's a good accent.
Very good job.
Yeah, Mac.
Second one. Unbiased, understanding, a family. These can all be used to describe Boulder Prep. After some issues at Fairview, my original school, I came to Boulder Prep in hopes of a fresh start. I've been at Boulder Prep since January of 2018. Wow, I just realized that's 2.5 years. That's 2.5 years. I just realized that. I've gotten to see it develop from when I first arrived and got to use the back door for the smoker section that eventually got taken away by BVSD fire restrictions, to when you guys added that electric car charger in the back, and I'm just wondering who's gonna use this. Yeah. I remember having class sizes of 12 people. I think at the lowest was 8 to 24 people when we went sailing. I remember having a lot of people, a lot of friends, but the community never changed. Even with all the changes, ups and downs, the teachers remained their usual enthusiastic and encouraging selves. And while some students may have come and gone, Boulder Prep attracts a specific type of person, the ones who still care. the ones who want to do better, or the ones who have just had it really tough in life. When you put all those people together and let them get to know each other, it's like wildfire. BP is the place where and the reason why I have made lifelong friends and people who I truly consider family. Thank you.
There it is. All right. With some students, it's easy to remember when you met them because their presence is instantly noticeable. With others, you just feel like they've always been there, and it's hard to think back to a time when they weren't, or to imagine a time when they won't. One isn't necessarily better than the other, but this student is definitely the latter. She has come to seem like a permanent fixture in the Boulder Prep community, someone we as teachers regularly depend on to exemplify and uphold the mission of the school. Her maturity and leadership have probably been praised by every adult in her life, but they didn't come easily. Her self-responsibility, sheer determination, and undeterred perseverance were all forged by fire, and she is a true testament to the ability of the human spirit to triumph against all odds. Trinity Dorshorn's life can probably be separated into two parts: when things would happen to her and when she started to make things happen. I am privileged to know a lot about this young woman's story, and the second chapter really seemed to begin when she took control and became her own author. At that point in her life, she made a series of difficult decisions about where to live, where to go to school, and I think it was in making these decisions that she started to see how powerful she was at manifesting the reality she had always dreamed for herself. Things seemed to start falling into place for Trinity, but every seemingly serendipitous moment was precipitated by her hard work. There's certainly an effortless grace to this young woman, but there's also a gritty tenacity, and you rarely see someone embody both. When you do, the results can almost seem magical. Most people weren't privy to the personal hardships, reoccurring health concerns, or regular bouts with insecurity. Most just saw the straight-A student, the talented artist, and the revered community leader. I am proud to know and to share both sides of this student because it is only in knowing the adversity that you can truly come to appreciate the victory or hail the victor. I had to laugh because recently, Trinity sent me a picture of the protest sign she made for a Black Lives Matter rally. It was beautifully painted with a glittery pink background, a majestic monarch butterfly, and the uplifting words, "Together, we can change the world." But then, when you zoomed in a little closer, in small white letters, you could see she had painted "F the system." The reason I laughed was because this was so perfectly Trinity, seemingly sweet, but quietly revolutionary. I'm grateful not to be alone in my recognition of Trinity. She will be attending Colorado State University on almost a free ride, thanks to the numerous scholarships and grants she has righteously been awarded. She even joked in an essay that every time I start to doubt myself again, I get another email saying I've won more scholarship money. Well, my dear, if there's any doubt left to rid you of, it is my deepest honor to inform you that you have been selected for this year's Eternal Boxer Memorial Scholarship. This scholarship is awarded annually to the graduating senior who not only exemplifies the attributes of the beloved students we have lost from our community, but to the person who will honor their lives by fully realizing the potential of their own. It is with immense pride I introduce our next graduate of the class of 2020, in the words of her brother Cade, Trinity Dorshorn.
I didn't actually prepare a whole speech. I just wrote some notes that I thought that would be important to say. And first of all, I wanted to say that I wanted to state the painfully obvious that none of us expected to be graduating in this way or missing out on all the things that we did. But I can't think of a better class that is equipped for this. Like, I feel like all of us have been through it, and we know how to get through the tough stuff. So I believe that this is, I don't know, it's fate in some weird way. And also, I wanted to say that, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. So I know it's kind of cliche to say this, but Boulder Prep saved my life. 3 years ago, I genuinely didn't think that I would live past 18. And when I got here, it blew my mind that there could be a community of people that love so strongly and care so strongly. And yeah, now I'm going to CSU and gonna try this thing of life, you know, which I didn't think was gonna happen. So yeah, and then I was gonna say that it's more than a school, it's a family. I can genuinely say that I love all of my teachers. Like, I truly have unconditional love for them, and I appreciate all of you so much. I can't even express how much I appreciate you guys. And yeah, my friends that I've met over the past 3 years, you know, we've had roller coasters, ups and downs, but I still love you guys so much. And I'm grateful that you guys were part of the Boulder Prep community for me, and I'll never forget it. And yeah, to my family, we've all had our ups and downs, obviously, and you know, it's been rough sometimes, but I don't know. I love you guys, regardless. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Exit wherever you want, girl.
It is now my pleasure to welcome up my good friend and colleague, Regina Morris.
I had to make sure I had my tissues and my water. I'm a crier. If it appears that I look nervous, it's because I am. I share that with the two graduates that I am introducing. If I cry, it's because I'm nervous and emotional. The most powerful thing a person can do when faced with obstacles is to understand the lessons to be learned from them and pass them on to others. This is a quote from our next Boulder Prep graduate's college essay. Like most Boulder Prep students, she has overcome many obstacles. I remember when I first met her in our interview process, she was extremely nervous and anxious about starting at a new school, as most kids are. But our reservations were held in the area of school safety. Were we going to be able to keep her safe from outside intruders? Sadly, this was and is a real concern for our modern youth, but for this young lady, this was weighing heavily on her mind. But we hit it off really well in that first meeting, and without saying in so many words, she assured me that we would be able to keep her safe. I learned that through a common interest we both have, a love of animals, and especially horses, I knew that at Boulder Prep we could provide her with what she was asking. She shared with me her love of an organization I was really familiar with called Western Airs. When she spoke of her experience at Western Airs, I could see in her eyes it was a place she had probably felt the safest other than the comforts of her own bed. Within the belief system of Western Airs, there are 3 areas of focus in being a member of their organization and community. First, it is more than just about horsemanship. It's about discipline, working as a team, and a sense of personal responsibility. Second, Western Airs requires collaboration from parents and their children, creating a sense of community. And third, it must be a place to belong, an alternative place to come together with like-minded peers, the adults who nurture those youth into responsible community leaders. I knew that Adri would thrive and be her best self when she was in an environment that could meet her needs of developing and becoming familiar with her own personal responsibility. Offer her a sense of community with the nurturing adults to become a responsible community leader. Adri, what I did not know at that time was that you already possessed those qualities. You brought them to the table and not only exemplified those qualities, but you helped your peers to learn to be their best self through your kindness and your teachings. You simply needed an arena to feel safe enough to spread those wings of your teaching, only then to find the power to combat your own struggles. One of Adri's struggles was severe migraines that would take her out of the school for weeks after recovering from them. This kid was tenacious about getting back into the classroom and work. Some days, she would come in with a migraine and say, "I'm good. I will push through today. I want to push through today." And I'd say, "Okay." Then, as one mom to another, I would look at her mom and we would shrug our shoulders and smile. This girl's got grit. Please help me celebrate Adriana Appelt in not only gritting through her migraines and anxiety to earn her high school diploma, but to celebrate her conquering her relationship with her migraines and anxiety. She is fully aware that they are a part of her. They are what makes her unique. They are what have made her find that grit within herself. But they do not define who you are. Because today, Adri, you are a Boulder Prep High School graduate setting out on the trail of life to make a difference at CU Boulder. Everybody help me in congratulating Adriana Appelt.
Okay, now I'm gonna cry. When I came to Boulder Prep, I was in a rough place. But I found an amazing community which allowed me to make mistakes and learn and grow from them. I learned a lot about myself in the past 2 years and the world around me. Much of what I learned from prep can't be taught in a book. I've met so many incredible mentors and students here, and I wouldn't be who I am today without them. I'd like to thank my parents, my grandmothers, the rest of my family, Regina, Lily, Karen, John, Kenny, Curtis, Chef Charles, Leah, Eric, Dom, Lorena, Sasha, Justin, Drew, and Brad, and all the other mentors who have been a part of this community and helped all of the students here grow. I'd like to wish everyone who's been here at prep and who are moving forward luck in their journeys. Thank you so much for being a part of my life.
July 24th, 2020. Dear next Boulder Prep graduate, this letter was supposed to be dated May 24th, 2020, but instead it is dated July 24th, 2020. Why? Because this is a crazy world with a crazy pandemic that was disrupted the last few months of our lives. I want to thank you for befriending me and allowing me to get to know you. In my many roles at Boulder Prep, my first memorable interaction with you was right after your first singing and playing your music at a school concert hosted at Stories. I often walk around and listen, but I'm focusing on the surroundings. Who's doing what? How students are presenting that day? Is there someone I need to connect with because they look like they're struggling? Okay, I admit I'm not always focused on the presentation. It's a mom trait to be scanning the premises of what's going on. But that is just between you and me. Anyway, that first day you played for the school and sang, you stopped me in my tracks. I had this overwhelming pressure in my heart, and it bled out through my eyes. The musical compositions were blood pumping yet calming. I know, conflicting terms, but I am a mom and we do that. The words in this song are truly what stopped me in my tracks. Words like, I am just a waste of space. I don't think there is a place where words don't hurt me. Do you know what's in the back of your head? Why should I be happy when I could be sad instead? Music's not therapy if you are okay mentally. Process through my issues, describing them endlessly. I was sad for you. I did not know what I should do. But then I went up to you and told you how moving your words were, and I really enjoyed your songs. That was the start of a beautiful friendship. Through my different roles at Prep, I got to interact with you long before you were a student in my class. And wow, the fun we had in ASL. Afterwards, I remember getting an email from you basically shouting, I miss ASL. One of those interactions was when I asked for your assistance and the assistance of your mom and dad to help a parent who may be going through the grieving process of their child's transitioning. All three of you were so ready to be there and support this parent. Thank you. You are the bravest person I know. Far braver than I will ever be. You are the essence of what it means to be your true self. I realized that when you were going through your journey to come out as a transgender person, you might not have felt brave. And you might be saying, Regina, I still don't feel brave. Have you noticed that when I'm anxious, I throw everything up? But Adam, in those days that you made it to school and still felt like throwing up, you persevered. And in your own words from a song titled, I'll Be Perfect, you believed in your words. One day it'll all be worth it for making it through these unbearable mornings when there's nothing I can do. I remember a turning point for you when maybe you felt like you were beating the monster of anxiety. Even though you had changed your name in the school system, it was not changed legally for some time, if I recall that correctly. In another role at Boulder Prep, I would assist the students in completing their forms for the ACT test. Because it seemed like a document that you could not list yourself as Adam, you did not. But I noticed that in the school system, you were listed as Adam. I knew that ACT would be very confused looking for that other kid. I vividly remember your face when I told you that you could put Adam at the top of the ACT answer sheet. Oh, your face and your eyes and such joy and relief in them. It's like they were singing to me, right now, that's where I want to be. I know, I just really want to see how good I am at being me. During your high school career, you have written over 1,000 songs. I believe when people hear them, there will possibly be 1,000 people out there whose lives will change in some way just by hearing your lyrics. I am proud of you, Adam. I am very honored that you would even consider me your Boulder Prep mom. That is a title I hold in highest regard. Thank you for impacting my life the way you have. I know you are making a huge difference in the lives of others and the community outside of Boulder Prep in your job as a substance abuse youth advisor. I know that you will continue to impact people through your music. I know you plan to move away and do great things, but when you are on TV, for whatever great impact you have and you have had, and you look at the camera and you wave, and as people do when they're on camera and they say, "Hi, Mom," I know you will mean your mom, but I will rejoice with her and for her, knowing that she and your dad raised one amazing young man. Please help me give it up for Adam Lincoln.
All right. Oh, thanks. All right. So I know what you all must be thinking. No, I'm not lost. My mom's right over there. And she's the first person that I would like to thank. Thank you, Mom, for being my safe and realistic role model. I look up to you and I admire you for so many reasons. Your work ethic, sarcasm, and perseverance through all of my mental health battles are what make you so special to me. Thank you. You have been there for me through it all. You taught me from a young age to think with an open mind, and because of this, congratulations, you've got a tranny in the house. When I came out as transgender, not everyone was supportive. However, I want to thank I would like to thank my father for reacting the way that he did. Dad, you were scared, and so was I. Your initial reaction of "this can't be real" scared me more than coming out itself did. But it's not your response to my transness that I would like to thank you for, but the complete 180-degree turn that you did. Today, you are my strongest supporter and one of the most caring people that I know. Your effort has meant so much more to me than you're aware of. Thank you for changing your views, because it changed my world and everything since. Cora, I bet that having an older sister was pretty cool. Sorry about that. Thank you for inspiring me to be a better person every single day and supporting me through everything, even when Mom and Dad weren't so cool. Thank you for keeping my secrets and trusting me enough to keep yours. I would like to thank the staff at Boulder Prep for helping me through these days of crippling anxiety and for giving me the knowledge that I need to pursue this world. It may be really scary and intimidating, but so is Sasha McTee. So thank you, Sasha, for preparing me. Thank you, John, for making me laugh so hard from the ominous comments that you make under your breath. Thank you, Karen, for making my first week at Boulder Prep so welcoming. You were the reason I decided to stay. Thank you, Dom, for pushing me to get my shit done. I don't know if I would have made it without you. And thank you, Lily, for creating such a safe space and a second home for me and so many others. You have and will continue to change the world one delinquent at a time. The last 3 years of my life, Regina has been a constant. You have inspired me to think more positively and to look on the bright side when I don't see any sides because my outlook was just too dark. Your smile alone seems to improve my mental stability. I remember sitting outside in the smoking section, just shaking so hard, not because of the 30-degree weather, but because of how anxious I felt. I was wanting to give up that day, and as I took a drag from my cigarette, you told me that it would all be okay, and for the very first time, I believed it. You never tried to tell me that you knew how I felt or that my problems weren't real or valid. You didn't give unsolicited advice, and you never once tried to talk me out of how I was feeling, but instead embraced my obstacles and helped me through them rather than around them. Thank you, Regina, for being my school mom. My speech is getting long, however, I simply don't care, for I must acknowledge the rest of my family. Trinity, you were the first person I think I was really friends with in high school. The look that you give me just hits different, and we're the only people who really know what that means because I just can't put it into words. Rachel, this all just seems so crazy, but what's especially insane is just the fact that we dated. Remember how awkward our interactions were? Can you imagine hesitating to roast each other now? Because I can't. Thank you so much for getting me through countless mental breakdowns. Thank you for literally being the friend group's personal comedian. Thank you for helping me study and pumping me up to be at school. It really made a difference for me. Even just the little things, like how you tell me, today's gonna be a lit-ass day, make a dent in my attitude. As I write this, you are sitting in senior life skills, listening to Blood on the Dance Floor, which makes me smile. Thank you for the little things that make an impact. My beautiful girlfriend, Alora, I cannot thank you enough for all that you have done for me. But when it comes to my education and graduating, you have been an immense help to me. You've taken on the responsibility of erasing my stress, and though I would never expect this from you or anyone, you always turn my day around. Whether it be a simple, "I love you, have a good day, babe," text in class, or something much bigger, you lift me up, and you keep me lifted. I could not be more proud of you. Not only do you manage me and my mental illnesses, but you've managed to work towards your associates while finishing high school. Thank you for giving me bragging rights on your behalf. And thank you for letting me vent to you about all the rest of people that I have acknowledged this far. The last group of people that I would like to thank is everyone in the smoker section. You all have made me a better person, genuinely. Having the opportunity to have met you all has been an honor. I've had some of the most memorable, stimulating conversations in that parking spot. From discussing the inner workings of the world to politics to our morals and to what we did over the weekend, it's nice to have a community that cares and genuinely wants to know how you are doing. Thank you guys for helping me as I am, or thank you guys for accepting me for who I am and greeting me every single morning and afternoon. I came here as a chubby 14-year-old with a bright red mohawk and a 21 Pilots shirt that was way too small for me, and I'm leaving here a slightly less chubby 17-year-old with a graduation gown that is way too long for me. Thank you everyone who has contributed to my well-being throughout my journey at Boulder Preparatory.
I'd like to welcome up my friend and coworker, Sasha McTee, the scary one, apparently, to Adam.
This one? Lily said go for the little one. I think I'm being judged.
The middle one.
Oh, the middle one.
Confirmation bias again.
Oh my goodness. Okay. With every graduation, I am humbled and amazed at the strength and resiliency of our students. In a chaotic world, they too often shoulder an unfair burden, and every year I'm impressed and inspired as they come into our school, shoulders heavy with the weight of the world, eyes haunted by a hurt that does not easily heal. This senior class experienced its unfair share of extra strife. Seniors who formed tight connections at the beginning of the year, who learned that brand new friendships and strong communities are essential to surviving, had precious time ripped away from them. And still, despite all, they soldier on, and this first graduate of mine is exemplary in this. She rocks an older sister vibe, although she's a younger sister, and her calm, cool collectedness was a point of stability in our community from girl talk to autobiography. Beneath her chill demeanor was easy warmth and patience. She was not there to judge. She was there to listen, to offer support, and did so with wisdom beyond her age. As it should have been no surprise that this graduate was one of our true blue and green Boxer legacies, she would become an integral part of our community and her senior class in just under a year. Within Evelyn resides the idea of how Boulder Prep is a community and a family that reaches beyond our walls and beyond our classrooms to find the connective tissue that holds us all together and shows us how in reaching out a helping hand we can all be comforted and find strength. When I say she is a legacy, this girl followed in the footsteps of her older brother. After a tumultuous time in her high school life, Evelyn was knocked off track and experienced a trauma that left her unmoored and shaken. Her incredibly loving and supportive family were there for her, from her parents and siblings who would do anything to help her, to her grandmother who gave her refuge in time to begin her academic recovery, and to her former Boxer brother who knew when it was time to lead Evelyn to our door. As her family circled around her in support, Boulder Prep, too, was able to circle around and welcome her. And she, in turn, became a courageous and constant source of encouragement and support for her fellow boxers, completing this beautiful circle. From her entry interview with me over a year ago, I could see how haunted Evelyn still was by her trauma, but I could also see how she was far from broken. Moreover, she was determined to do what it took to maintain her track and graduate on time, saying that she also planned to stick to herself and stay out of trouble. However, I am very happy to say she did not stick to herself, because at Prep, forging her new community was an exercise in trust rather than trouble, and it was with pride we watched her become a happier, more confident young woman whose warm heart was a beacon of support. I like to stress how Evelyn was essential to the spirit of our community and how she flourished in student leadership and service to others. Though she was often quiet, she was always one of the first ones here and one of the last ones gone, and she rose to the occasion of our Zoom online poetry jam, showing us the full talent of her beautiful voice as she serenaded us with a bilingual rendition of Blue Moon. But I also want to stress how she was a magnificent student, digging in and showing the grit to graduate on time and continue to challenge herself academically as well so she could prepare for her next academic chapter at CU Boulder. It is with a warm and proud and overflowing heart that I welcome Evelyn Sosa to the stage. It's raining on my parade. Okay. I think you can go there.
Bit nervous. I don't do too well talking in front of people. Get anxious, but I was known as the big troublemaker growing up. I had classmates, old friends tell me, you know, by the time you're 16, you're gonna be behind bars. And for the longest time, I believed it too. The older I got, the more trouble I got into. But things didn't get out of hand until I hit high school. It was my second year of high school. My grandpa had passed away, and I had fallen into a really deep depression. Although things didn't get too bad until I hit junior year, I was out of control. I wasn't listening to anybody. I was just trying to live my life and trying to get out of the pain. I did some really poor decisions, got me into big trouble that honestly I could have avoided. It wasn't until junior year that I realized how out of control I was. I went through a really traumatic event that, you know, it made me realize, you know, it's time I need to get my stuff together. I need to change, or else I'm not gonna end up very well. I got sent to Nebraska and I was out there for 8 months. I made it my trial, basically, you know, if I want to go back home, I needed to change my ways, and I had to start off somewhere, so I started off there. I didn't believe I was even gonna get into CU Boulder. I was shook when it happened. I can't even begin to explain how grateful I am for Boulder Prep, because before that I didn't think I was gonna finish high school. I really didn't think I was gonna graduate. In fact, I didn't think I was gonna make it to my 18th birthday. I love that school. Best place I've ever been to, and I was considering, I don't even know how many times I told Lorena where I was gonna fail my classes just so I can spend an extra year with them. All I'm saying is Boulder Prep is a really amazing school. I've never met such open-minded people and such good-hearted kids. You know, they say it's a school for delinquents, but it's just a school for those kids that just need an extra hand to achieve their goals. And if it wasn't for Boulder Prep, they helped me out with my trauma. I was really, really going through a hard time. I couldn't mentally keep myself still. I had to resort to substances, cigarettes, to just deal with stress. Till this day, you know, I've finally quit smoking cigarettes, and I can't explain how thankful I am to the smokers section, to the school. They helped me a lot. I had been dealing with that addiction for the longest time, so now that I can finally say I've gone over 5 months without a cigarette, and I can't explain how grateful I am for Boulder Prep. Kind of wish I would have been there sooner, would have spent a lot more time with the people there, but I appreciate the time that I got with them, and all I gotta say is I appreciate everybody in it, all the students, all the staff. You guys are my second family, and yeah, thank you very much.
All right. As it's raining on us again, of course. This next girl is like the Boulder Prep comet. She came into our lives for a single semester of her senior year, and the entire time she shone brightly like a comet sailing across our skies. She was radiant, confident, and an overall guiding light in the community. I would love to say how we helped her find her way, helped her grow in both academics and life skills so she could go and make her way in the world, but in truth, it seemed this mature, steady senior needed very little help at all. She had the surety of knowing where she was going and had the inner strength and trajectory to travel her hard-won path through the heavens and achieve that which she set her mind to. I've always admired the inner resiliency of kids who grew up in a world that was imperfect at their birth through no fault of their own. This graduate was one to grow in leaps and bounds of wisdom and steadiness before she ever reached our door, and her beautiful connection to family, particularly the relationship she shared with her siblings, showed her the consistent strength of connection, even if life was disjointed and messy. And through this understanding, she was able to connect with a community that saw and admired and loved her for her. She wore her maturity like a queen wears her crown, naturally and unapologetically. She nurtured her own inner strength, found peace in the physicality of work, calm in the chaos of life, and appreciation for the breadth and beauty of this world as she moved from place to place, school to school. Her well of empathy was tested, but runs deep and is full. This girl is a dream in learning life lessons, from raising brand new kittens and instantly understanding the Herculean effort that comes with nurturing a new life in this turbulent world, to planting trees with a bright, infectious grin because the pleasure of being outside and doing some real physical labor that healed the earth easily made for her favorite day. This senior was awesome in academics as she navigated her way through the senior requirements with a practiced discipline and exhibited with ease how one can truly finish autobiography in less than one semester, a feat that had not been accomplished in some years. This alone shows that she has earned every drop of confidence she possesses. We had to remind ourselves at prep to check in with the incomparable Brooklyn Torrico because she glided so effortlessly through her senior year. And though we were happy to see her finish so strong, we were sad to see her finish so early. But like all comets, they only grace our skies for a limited time. And the ultimate life lesson is to appreciate the time that was given to us, and we were honored to give her this community and these memories. For nurturing a soul like Brooklyn's is one of the primary pleasures of my job, and I'm proud to say that she will continue to share the strength of her nurturing with the rest of the world as she pursues a degree in massage therapy. And moreover, I'm proud to say that as she continues to burn brightly, leaving a trail of confidence behind her, Brooklyn will soar to whatever heights she sets for herself. Everyone, please help me in welcoming Brooklyn Torrico to the stage. I think so.
Hello, my name is Brooklyn. I'm very appreciative that I was able to graduate from a place like Boulder Prep. This is the 4th high school that I've gone to, and my life has obviously been a crazy adventure. I've never been the biggest fan of school, even though that it always has come really easily to me, and I like to consider myself self-driven, and I'm glad that Boulder Prep and all its staff were able to not only help me accomplish my goal of finishing school, but I also got to finish early as well. And now it's time for the hard part, moving on to adulthood. I'm going off into the real world. I just moved out with my sister, so it's a big accomplishment we've been looking forward to, and I really look forward to going to massage school and sharing my gift of wanting to help heal people. And I'm excited to put all the skills that I learned from my school and my own experiences in my life to the real test. So, thank you.
Wait, Brooklyn, your diploma. This is what you came here for. The next graduate is like the secret operative of students. She's incredibly smart and gifted and knows how to harness her power from afar and channel it through sheer will and the power of the internet. This worked well for her before the pandemic hit, and from the doom of Zoom and beyond, she excelled and indeed ended the school year with calls for her to be president. And people, this is one of the best ideas I've heard in a long time. When I think of her experience at Boulder Prep, she is remembered as a quiet and unassuming student who is also a recognized powerhouse of straight A's and academic appetite that eats schoolwork and challenging projects for breakfast. She struggled with regular attendance due to serious health concerns that I'm sure must have felt like a slow pot set to simmer and then boiled over with her in it, cooking her alive inside and out. But this did not stop her. No, instead, it distilled her so that the potency of her drive could propel her forward no matter the circumstance. With Annika, I feel that Boulder Prep was able to provide her with a learning community that gave her what she needed at the time. In seeing her potential, we yearned for far more at times, but what Annika gave to conquer her challenges in her formative high school years was far more than meets the eye. It would be so easy to say, from our perspective, that she swam through life, swam through high school with ease. And in some ways she did. She became one with the metaphorical water, and she made it look effortless as she tackled senior year while recovering from her previous upset. But Annika is an actual swimmer, trained for competitions and hardship, and a killer butterfly stroke, and she knows swimming through water, much less life and school and illness all at the same time, is no easy task. It takes a breathless amount of hard work and dedication. She credits her swim coach with helping her to stay afloat at a time when even swimming was too much, and I credit much of her time training in the water and battling illness, which is the ultimate existential training for life, with building her capacity for inner strength and resilience. And though Annika may not have made the biggest waves through the school when she first started at prep, her influence is powerful and ripples through the community and students she will leave in her wake. One shining example is her work for the Indigenous rights group she helped create, Boxers for Being Good Relatives, a group that has already written and received a response from our own Congressman Nagoose. Annika has continued to work with them in the summer, and this drive and motivation will serve her well as she continues her education at Knox College in Illinois. So Annika did swim herself to the finish line, powerfully, gracefully, and achieving the goal of making hard work appear effortless. But I assure you, it was not, and she's stronger for it. Everyone, please help me welcome future presidential hopeful Annika Weigel to the stand. Woo! I accidentally scratched my face with water over here, so be careful.
I just want to say thank you to my mom and my dad for always nagging me to get out of bed, even though it never really worked. And I want to say thank you to the entire staff at Boulder Prep for always being so supportive and just being there for me, especially Sasha and Eric. Thank you for helping me with the Indigenous Studies group. That's really cool. And I want to say thank you to all my friends that I've made here. I really appreciate all of you. So, thank you.
Our next senior was like a wildflower who caught a stray wind and took it upon herself to replant her roots with us for her senior year of high school. Or at least that's what it felt like. Our community and family is far richer for this particular edition, and her beautiful nature was able to blossom in the Boxer environment. I'm unspeakably proud of her, but I shall endeavor to speak to it anyway. She took to Boulder Prep like a mermaid takes to water, loving us in our weirdness and delightful absurdity, and in return, she gave us her trust and let us help her in life and academics as she completed her journey in high school and paved the path for her future. It was a privilege to provide support and comfort, a safe space for her to own her own story and take charge of life. It was wonderful to see her accept our lead in challenging her academically so she could grow into her own bright and promising potential. The fact that Emma Marshall took to Boulder Prep so naturally, which, by the way, is the highest of compliments I can give in my mind, is due in no small part to her amazing friends and family. Her wonderful mother and the incomparable Greggy did an excellent job of instilling such warmth and love in her earlier years, laying a strong foundation for such a caring young woman. Add to that the fact that she followed her dear friend Sam, a fellow Boxer senior and smartass, to our door, says volumes about her. I'll never forget Emma telling the story of picking Samantha up from school in her junior year, only to be shocked at how much we loved Sam, saying something along the lines of, "Wow, I've never known teachers to like her so much." Well, another school's pest is our beloved procrastinator, and we love all of our kids as both students and the people they are in life. And so just like that, her sweet spirit brought laughter and genuine love to a burgeoning senior class of Boulder Prep first-timers as well as Boxer veterans. The truest communities are those that consist of the truest friendships, and Emma's entry to our school helped set this tone in the senior class. and it was a tone of friendship that reverberated throughout the school as she found cherished connections at prep, especially amongst her graduating class in our beloved Girl Talk group. To work with her on her writing was a deeply profound journey to watch. I hope she found herself in her writing as much as her eloquent reflection and big heart seems to indicate. If not, I think her growth is more than she is currently aware of, and I can't wait to see how else she will surprise herself in this crazy journey we call life. Already, she has the ability to learn from hard and ugly life lessons that plenty of strong adults wilt under, yet she was able to face this world with maturity and grace. But as those of us who raft and ski and hike in our mountains know, any wildflower can truly thrive in harsh conditions. And as Emma uproots herself again and plants herself wherever she sees fit, I'm here to tell you there is no diminishing Emma's beauty inside or out, and this wildflower is a spirit who will be dearly missed in our school. I am so happy to invite Emma Marshall to our stage. For this girl.
She the first one?
You're the first one.
Okay, isn't this scary? I was very convinced I was gonna fall on the way up the ramp.
Emma, you can take your mask.
Oh, I can?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wrote this speech during quarantine on a Zoom call with some of my two closest friends. God, I'm gonna cry, I'm sorry. Samantha and Amelia. And none of us knew what to say, really. All that came to mind was how thankful we were for this community at this school, and we wished we had more time. I've never had a group of teachers genuinely care about me the way this staff does, and I've never felt more at home in such a crowded place. And I just want to give a very special thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone here. You guys make me so happy, and you don't even know it. But I love you guys so much. Thank you.
You're almost done with me, I promise. This final graduate on my list was conceptually a senior English teacher's dream. Smart, thoughtful, musical, effortlessly cool, as he unembarrassingly rocked out at his band's concert while the entire female staff of Boulder Prep cheered him on. This guy was a regular performer at our musical concerts, had an eye for bullshit, and could wax philosophical and random life skills rotations about morality with the best of them. Like I said, an English teacher's dream. And I couldn't wait to get Jed in my classes more regularly. But alas, as 2020 has proven, time and time again, life doesn't always go how you might dream or expect. And Jed spent a good portion of his senior year running away from me, or hiding. It was very puzzling. I was so excited to dig in and explore great literature while also building him up for what would be a wonderful college career. Turns out a lot of the intellectual deep thinkers in this generation want absolutely nothing to do with college. Jed was one of those. Only very recently at Boulder Prep, and under Dom's magnificent coaching, did he come around to the idea of how education in college could give him the life he was looking for. But this very recent realization and change of life trajectory really can scare the shit out of a lot of teens. I know I myself doubted as I finished my senior year and followed what the status quo said was the correct life path. So really, I can imagine how terrifying it might be to suddenly feel like you hopped on the status quo train, especially when, like all good musicians, nothing about Jed qualifies as status quo. Jed is all about music, from performing at the Boulder Theater at the ripe old age of 12 to his live ensemble performance, including original music for his final project at the prestigious Berklee Summer Program. Not that Berklee, the prestigious musical Berklee. Jed excels with the 12 notes of his life. With his too cool for school poetic musician vibe, Jed was at home on stage with his beloved bass. And it was his natural environment. He took to it like a baby bird leaping out of the nest and soaring on a high note. However, with school, it was more like he was a confused songbird who accidentally flew inside an open window thinking, yeah, this is okay for a bit, and then wait. And then, as he felt Dom and I close the net of real life around him, he flew the proverbial coop and had to be coaxed back into the building so I could show him just how well, indeed, he could do. And eventually, Jed realized the truth, and the momentary panic of feeling caged was really an exciting drop into the unknown. And with this high-speed drop, i.e. admission to the Los Angeles College of Music, his education will indeed be the key to soaring in a year after COVID, the so-called wind beneath his wings. I guess you could say before I was his teacher, I was, like many at Boulder Prep, one of his #1 fans. And I will continue to cheer him on because I know whatever stage he flies to, he'll shine just as bright as he did when he walked triumphantly back into the school exclaiming, "It clicked, Sasha, it makes sense, and I can do it," of which I have video. And so without further ado, one of our stars, Jed Alpert.
Yeah, Jed.
Air hug.
All right, here we are. So when I first came to Boulder Prep, I obviously had no intention of going to college. That all changed when Dom finally got to me. But with the help of the students and staff, I learned to embrace my passion of becoming a musician and going to music school. And I just want to thank everybody who has helped me on my journey through my final years of high school. Thank you.
All right, we are now going from small to tall as I welcome up my fellow colleague and senior wrangler, Dominic.
There's no one right way to do this. As an educator, I have a bad habit of making up the corniest songs and rhymes for students on a daily basis. And this next 2020 graduate has seen the most of these ridiculous yet somewhat catchy songs. Boulder Prep is a community, and what is essential about a community is that there are individuals who can act as the glue for keeping people together. Sometimes all that might entail is someone whose smile can be that light of positivity which creates the vibe for the classroom. Samantha Grabowski is that glue. She can enter any room and instantly form bonds and relationships with people around her. She has contagious energy that is welcoming to newcomers and a spirit that is full of silliness. When you have someone in the classroom like her, it makes teaching and learning a hell of a lot more fun. Samantha is the type of person who can provide a shoulder to cry on, make a room full of people laugh with stomach pain, call you out on your BS, or just be the ally by your side. Samantha is that glue. And when she is not serving as that glue, she is probably looking for her misplaced wallet or calling AAA after she locks herself out of her car for the 10th time. In society, we tend to overassume these unique individuals as constantly happy and positive and who never experience hardships. This is a mistake, though. Samantha has indeed experienced her share of personal battles. Growing up, Samantha lost her father, and with that, lost a significant role model in her life. We may all know someone who has lost a parent at a young age and how this can be impactful for the rest of our lives. As someone who is fortunate enough to still have both of my parents, it is truly remarkable to see a kid battle this adversity head on and still see the good in all situations. During girl talks, Samantha would constantly be the rock for other students who would tell stories of how they recently lost a loved one. She would listen intently, cry with them, and support them. This is what makes Samantha such a foundational piece to the Boulder Prep community. When I first met Samantha, she told me she wanted to be a ski bum after high school and live on the slopes all year round. Her passion for the mountains is pretty obvious the moment you meet her. Some Monday mornings, Samantha would be late to school because she had to hurry down I-70 at 5:30 in the morning in time for stories. Other days, she's creating her own slopes in the school parking lot from the 2 feet of powder we received the night before and performing 180 ski jumps during lunch. And if you want evidence, it's on the poster up front. During senior year, though, Samantha decided to harness her passion for skiing by aspiring to attend Colorado Mountain College for ski and snowboard management. In this way, she'll be able to fulfill her ski bum dreams while earning a degree at the same time. While we are all beyond excited for her, we are sad to lose our glue that keeps our community intact. And I will be losing my favorite inspiration for corny songs and chants. Now, Samantha's not here today. This morning she felt pretty sick. And so we did this speech anyway for her. So what we're going to do is, we have cameras over there. We're going to give a loud round of applause for her because she's watching us live right now. So without further ado, please give a loud round of applause for Samantha Grobowski. Next, I will introduce our math and science teacher and self-proclaimed music department chair, John McConaughey.
Man, this one's really around the corner, isn't it? Okay, so the next graduate is here today, and she knows who she is. Although this may not have been true when she first came to the school. Back in those days, whenever she ventured out of hiding for an instant, there were two things that we could always rely on her to do. The first was to find a way to correct some geometry mistake on something I'd been teaching for years. As it was, she was right and I was wrong. And not only once, as luck would have it. I guess one large contribution she could claim to Boulder Prep is fixing our geometry curriculum so much. Thank you. The second thing, far more memorable, was to follow up each of these corrections with a smile so enchanting. I could even try to suggest that I made, hey, that doesn't make sense, does it? With an enchanting smile. And I could try to suggest that I made those mistakes just to get her to smile. But if I said that, she probably wouldn't buy that. Well, I might try it anyway just to get another smile out of her. And then as each term went by, I would often let her know what classes I'd be teaching next in the hope I could attract her to attending more of my classes. That's because at any time her intelligence and thoughtfulness would always add something insightful to the class discussion. I find not having her in class is a feeling of having something missing, more than just, well, at least there's one adult in the room now. Some people are dependable because they always treat you the same way, no matter how they're feeling at the time. And this can mean the world. Perhaps that's why I find Rachel Heinrich to be actually such a steadying force. And I know she's taken on that burden in support of others. And being there has also helped them tremendously. Does Rachel make everything look easy? No. She's honest about how she feels and how she's struggled in the past to get through what every day brings. She coined the now famous quotation, "From time to time we take a lot of shit, but don't take it to heart." Rachel, I know you've been accepted to college, and no doubt you'll be a great help to developing that curriculum as well. But I feel you do know how to pace yourself effectively. There's no need to crush that watermelon with just one squeeze. You do value your relationships and your family. You plan well, as we can see, because here you are. Perhaps you're one of those fortunate people who really don't take important things for granted because you work very hard to get them and very hard to keep them. Good for you. Rachel, you're a wonderful person, and I'm sure you'll be a powerful support for many in the hard times ahead. And don't forget to take care of yourself a little bit on the way. And Rachel, we are proud of you, and we will fill the void that you leave behind with warm memories and smiling thoughts for your future. Everybody, please welcome Rachel Heinrich.
I'm going to be completely honest, I'm really nervous. But here we go. This is really not what I was expecting for my graduation. 4 years ago, I wouldn't have expected to be up here at all. And even though this isn't as glamorous or dry as previous Boulder Prep graduations, I'm grateful to be here and to be healthy and to see all of you guys here. Now I'd like to give a few words for some people who really helped me get through the past 3 years. Mr. Adam Honey Baby Lincoln. First of all, I want to say that I'm so proud of you. You've grown so much since I met you, and I mean that musically, academically, and personally, not physically. I'm pretty sure you're just as short as you were when I met you 3 years ago. Anyway, it's been an honor to be a part of your journey through high school. You are my best friend and my rock. You've always been so supportive and loving of everything that I do, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life. I can't wait to see what shenanigans we're up to in 5 years. Knowing you has made me a better person. I love you, bud. To my family, I am so very sorry for all the emotions you've had to put up with during these amazing years. But more importantly, thank you for supporting me and loving me even when it's hard. I hope that I've made you proud. And now I'd like to give a huge shout out to the teachers for all that they've done for me. Thank you to Sasha and Dom into scaring me into getting my shit done and supporting me along the way. I wouldn't be up here without the fear. To Leah and Regina for always having my back, loving me unconditionally, and watching me cry. I love you both. To Justin and Kenny for always making me feel smarter than I am. To Eric and Lorena for always making me laugh and feel at home. To Curtis and Charles for always checking in on me and making me feel welcome. To John for making me feel welcome and confused since day one. And finally to Lily for giving me a chance at Boulder Prep and being the reason I got to turn my life around. You are so loving and handle all conflict with grace. I admire you and everything you've done for us boxers. I will always be BP proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. I now call upon Dr. Kenny Gillis to introduce the next graduate.
This one?
Hello, everyone. What a beautiful day, huh? It would be sun and rain and who knows what's next, you know. This is 2020. So I'm so honored to be introducing our next graduate. I got to know this student in Algebra 2 class back in the fall. Way back then, we would cram ourselves into classroom 5. We would sneeze on each other and we'd chew on the same pencils by accident. Could usually find her in a hoodie. She didn't really like to be called on and sometimes would get pretty mad at me for doing so. She got more comfortable in that class, and towards the end of our classes together, Zoe Bray's laugh could be heard from the commons. She made friends with Emma Marshall, and that's when the real trouble started, you see. I'm just kidding, sort of. We got through our math, but there was a lot of goofing around. I'd often say, we're having a good time. And that's because we were. Some days I needed to remind the students, though, because they would forget how much fun math is. Zoe worked hard in math, and she passed both Algebra 2 and Pre-Calculus. For some, math comes easy, and for others, you have to work. Zoe, like myself, had to work for it. After a little bit of convincing, Zoe and I got in the habit of working on math problems on the board before school began. It was this extra effort that helped solidify her understanding in these topics. She embodies a growth mindset, knowing that expertise and skill building just requires time invested. Being a student at Boulder Prep has 2 primary components. One being the academic commitment, and the second being your presence as a community member. So although Zoe was quiet and kept to herself at first, she soon became a pillar of support for other students. So I want to read something that Leah told me about Zoe. Zoe was someone who never really wanted to talk about herself, but she always gave such good and supportive advice to other students. She listened really well, and she was really wonderful at acknowledging and affirming people's feelings. I think it says a lot when girls are consistent with girl talk, but would rather be in a support role. Some girls only come when they have something they want to share, but Zoe made a point to come, to listen, to help her friends. So like many students graduating today, Zoe has faced more than her fair share of challenges. These challenges do not define her, but they have given her a strength and resiliency that Zoe will be able to take into her future. I do think we need more people in positions of leadership, like Zoe, maybe Colorado Senate someday. Zoe has been accepted to MSU in Denver and will be attending there in the fall. One last anecdote I want to share goes back to math class. Zoe was usually pretty nervous for upcoming quizzes and exams. She would have other students tutor her, but she almost always scored higher than them on her tests. So what does that say? In this example, I think it says that Zoe's confidence did not match her ability. Zoe, I'm excited to see your confidence grow as you see yourself more like the people around you do. We see you as brilliant, passionate, hardworking, patient, and kind. The entire Boulder Prep community wishes you all the best as you go forward. So everyone, please help me in welcoming Zoe to the stage.
So I'm gonna make this short and sweet because I hate talking in front of people. I just want to thank the teachers for helping me personally and with school, the community for being so welcoming and making it easy for me to make friends, and to my family for always being there. So that's it. Thank you. Why did I go this
No, you're good. Our next speaker, sometimes the students confuse us for some reason. They think we look alike. Justin St. Ange.
Good evening. I am very excited to introduce the next and last graduate of the Boulder Prep class of 2020. An individual with an enormous heart, an adventurous spirit, and one of the most creative minds I know. I was lucky enough to meet this student on his first day at school and was instantly struck by his warm and friendly demeanor. During his time with us, we've gotten to know each other very well, and our relationship has been strengthened by both the good and the bad times together. Algebra, being one of his first classes with us, proved to be one of those challenging times, but I don't blame him. He's rational, not understanding why Timmy in a math problem would ever want to buy 225 watermelons. Thankfully, we've had time to strengthen our friendship during science classes, climbing trips to the local gym, hikes in the foothills on Friday, hacky-sacking over lunch, and kendama-ing when he's out of class trying to distract all the teachers. We commonly hear teachers change the lives of students, but we rarely talk about the impact students have on us. This student has truly made me a better teacher, pushing me to think about the topics I teach in a different way, making me continue my own research out of class as I'm left stumped, and most importantly, having me try to figure out how this content is relevant to Snoop Dogg and Warren G. This student understands the immense value held in challenging oneself, and his drive to improve the quality of his life and the lives of the people around him can be seen directly from the transformations in the person who walked through those Boulder Prep doors in 2018 to the person who sits here today. This student is inspired by and knows the world is full of magical things. He's a giver and a provider, being an empathetic listener when someone needs an ear, or creating happiness and joy through the music he produces. He not only understands and is motivated by the power of music, but is encouraged to produce music to create change and to heal. Whether you're listening to his SoundCloud or watching a movie made in some class at school with his personal soundtrack, you can quickly see his talent. One thing that has impressed us at school is his ability to share his passion with others. He's worked with other students to help them with music projects. He even designed and taught his own life skills class about music production, giving every student that poured into the classroom a sneak peek at how he makes music. This student has definitely seen his fair share of challenges and difficult times, but these speed bumps have only made him smarter, more thoughtful, and more mature. Seeing the adversity he has overcome and how hard he has worked to improve and better himself is a great reminder of how nothing, even as grand as the Flatirons, will serve as a roadblock in completing what he has set his mind to. A lot of times we worry about students when they leave us at Boulder Prep, but I know the student has a bright future and the drive and passion to work hard and relish the amazing results. I will certainly miss hearing someone call me a nerd in the hallway during breaks, the subtle smell of a fresh cracked can of yerba mate, or the constant need to tell me how dank his breakfast sandwich is. But I'm confident I will see his name headlining at Red Rocks soon enough. Bo Gribben, you have shown your family, your friends, and all of us at Boulder Prep what can be achieved when you really work hard at something. Your passion and ambition have gotten you this far, and I know for sure will continue to benefit you way into your future. Bo Gribben, you're awesome. Please help me welcome up Bo to the stage. Mike got 3. Yeah. You can use that.
Thank you, Justin. That was super sweet. Okay. So yeah, when I first interviewed at Boulder Prep, my parents were skeptical because Boulder Prep has a undeserved reputation. But after we sat down with Leah, we all decided it was a great idea, and it was a really good decision. And I kept thinking of a good way to say this, and I couldn't figure it out, so I'm just gonna try. Boulder Prep, like the community and everything, it's kind of just an idea, but the staff really brings it to life. Without all the staff, like all the inclusiveness and being able to be yourself, that it wouldn't really be there. It'd be a good idea, but it wouldn't come to life. Yeah. Thank you all. I love you all. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
I know. All right, that wraps up our graduates for tonight. So please give one final round of applause for all the incredible staff and the class of 2020. So part of my duties as headmaster is to make sure our students not only receive the best possible education, but their basic needs are also met. And this can come in the form of delicious food, school supplies, bus passes, field trips, therapy, and gas money. And so I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't make a request that if you were moved by the stories that you heard today, please support our cause by telling others about us, bragging on social media, we love Google reviews, volunteering, and of course, making a generous donation. You can go to our website and sign up to be a monthly donor or to give a one-time gift. Any amount makes a big difference. Thank you for joining us today. We will close with our tradition of reciting the Boulder Prep Blessing, written by original headmaster Bruce Blodgett. And then we will socially distance off the field and out to our cars. Remember, we don't want anybody getting sick from today. Finally, after we do our blessing, graduates, we can't toss caps, but I want to see you wave them, okay? The blessing can also be found on the back of your program. I'll read one line and you repeat after me. So let's get started. The Boulder Prep Blessing. May the path you trod be stoneless.
May the path you trod be stoneless.
May your future teach you well.
May your future teach you well.
May your friends be full of kindness.
May your friends be full of kindness.
And may truth be all you tell.
And may truth be all you tell.
May the sun burn through your darkness.
May the sun burn through your darkness.
And may the moon light up your night.
And may the moon light up your night.
May your thoughts exude their brightness.
May your thoughts exude their brightness.
And may you always know what's right.
And may you always know what's right.
When life becomes a struggle,
Life becomes a struggle.
and there's a stagger in your step,
And there's a stagger in your step.
may you turn and safely snuggle
May you turn and safely snuggle.
with thoughts of Boulder Prep.
With thoughts of Boulder Prep.
Graduates, please rise. Hold your caps high and shake them like you care. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Graduates, you may keep your robes, and if you don't want to keep them, you can just leave them at your seats.
Life's like a road that you travel along. There's one day here and the next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn your back to the wind. There's a world outside every darkened door where blues won't haunt you anymore, where the brave are free and lovers soar. Come ride with me to the distant shore. We won't hesitate to break down the garden gate. There's not much time left today. Yeah.